It's a cold one this morning. I've made my first cast and I'm having my first cup of tea. Always nice, the first one of the day. Scraping ice off the windshield and using de-icer as well. Took me some considerable time to get the car ready to drive off. Probably longer than it took to get here. I live about 3, maybe 4 minutes away by car, but got here in the end. It's always about safety, isn't it? You don't want to be driving through a little peephole in the windshield where you can just have limited vision. You need to clear the car properly. Naturally, in conditions like this, you need to go for the species that will give you a maximum chance of catching something, and that's why this morning I'm after roach. First fish. So even in these conditions I'm not a blanker, and I would say it's because I've targeted roach. One of the big problems that I've got this morning is that the rod rings are icing over. What happens is the lines in the water pulls it back through the rings when you reel in, and then that water freezes. It's that cold. You know what? It takes me back to when I was a kid. I used to go fishing right the way through the year then. We didn't have the technology in general that we've got now. Back in the 1960s, and certainly angling was very basic compared to what it is now in terms of things available to us, and that includes clothing as well. I can remember you'd put 2 or 3 pairs of trousers on, you'd put your boots on, your Wellingtons in those days, and 3 pairs of socks. You'd have t-shirts, jumpers, the whole lot, layers of clothing. I didn't really understand the importance of layers of clothing in those days. I just wore them because I knew the more I had on, the warmer I would be. And then on top I would have my dad's donkey jacket. And the reason that little trigger came is because I used to have lots of issues with the rod rings freezing up. I can take myself back now, I'm going back half a century and more, and I would just pinch the ice, knowing that the temperature of my fingers was slightly warmer than that, so it would melt it, or I would cup around and breathe into it. Oh, great memories, aren't they? There's been a stock dove calling on a regular basis throughout the session so far. Always nice to hear those. I was thinking about that mallard as well yesterday that I encountered lying on its back. I did some internet searching when I went home to try and find out the reason as to that, and it does happen. There are people who post videos and they have pet ducks even, and they find them lying on the back. So quite interesting when you go on the internet and search things, isn't it, and learn things, because I've never come across that before. And of course we do have bird flu at the moment in the country, although that one didn't look particularly ill or anything like that. I hadn't got any signs, whatever, but as I said in yesterday's video, it went back and carried on as normal. I did think initially it might have been maybe attacked by a dog, because there are lots of dog walkers, and then the owner called the dog back, but the bird was in shock. Well, you never know, do you? But that's certainly a first for me anyway, finding a bird lying upside down as it was on the bank and on its back. It is quiet this morning. Naturally and obviously in conditions like this, you won't be pulling out fish every few seconds, but if you can catch a few, I'm here for a couple of hours, well, I'll be a happy camper indeed. Just the one fish for me this morning. It really is difficult at the moment. I was talking to the bailiff just now, and he said that he can't remember the last time someone caught a fish, and he goes round on a regular basis, and a number of anglers are out there. So yeah, difficult indeed. And then a few people just passing by saying to me, they're not anglers, but they say that this pool's frozen over and that one, and another pool's frozen over and the canal's frozen. So to even get some open water has been a blessing today, and to get that one fish on the bank. As I've said on many occasions, it's a thin line, isn't it? It's a fine line between success and failure, if I can use those words in inverted commas. But I'm happy to say that I'm on the right side of that line this morning. If you are out fishing yourself, wrap up warm and tight lines.